Okay, so on we go to round 23. We're going to join with a standing single crochet in the half double crochet made in the 6th chain 1 space after the large point chain 2 space. So here's the chain 2 space. This is the first chain 1 space here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So not the last one, the one before, and that half double crochet there, that's where we are going to join with a standing single crochet. Okay, we're going to skip the next 3 stitches. So that's the back post, the half double, and the back post double that's there. And then in the next stitch, which is our first single crochet of the small point, we're going to make treble, chain 1, 4 times, and then a treble. Okay, so we're going to have 5 trebles and 4 chain 1 spaces. So all into this single crochet here. So we're going to go treble, chain 1, that's twice, three times, four times, and then that final treble. Okay, so treble, chain 1 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, then a treble. Then we're going to skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. So then this single crochet here is the next one we're going to work into. And we're going to single crochet in 7 stitches. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Whoops, center point stitch is number 4, and then 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and then we're going to skip 3 stitches, and then in that last single crochet we're going to repeat this. Okay, so we're going to treble, chain 1, oops, treble, chain 1, that's twice, and there's 3, and 4 times, and then that final treble. So we've got 5 trebles and 4 chain 1 spaces. Okay, and we're then going to skip the next 3 stitches. Okay, so it's the back post double, the half double, and the back post double, exactly the same as it was over here. So now moving into the large point, we're going to skip these 3, and this one where I've got my thumb here, we're going to make a single crochet into that half double. Okay, so that's sort of our repeat that goes around our small point. Okay, we're going to front post half double around the next stitch. So the next stitch is our back post stitch. Okay, so front post half double around there, and back post half double around the next one. Okay, so it will always work out that you'll be doing a front post stitch around the back post stitch and a back post stitch around the normal half double. Okay, make sure you get right under those top loops and right around the post, and particularly here where you're going around the half double. Can you see that third loop under there? You need to make sure you're below that for your stitch to sit properly. Okay, so how many times are we doing this? 6 times. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's number 6. Okay, so we've done that little repeat, front post half double around the back post stitch and back post half double around the half double, and we've done that 6 times. And now we're going to front post half double around that last stitch before the chain 2 point space, and we're going to make 3 single crochet in that point space. So as we were doing before for our small points, your center or second single crochet is your point stitch. Okay, and now we're going to come down the other side. Let's get everything moved in the right place. So we're going to front post half double around that first one, back post half double around that next one, and then again we've got the same thing with front post half double around the back post stitch and back post half double around those half doubles. Okay, and again you're going to do that 6 times. So we have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oops, no, I've done the extra one, sorry. Yeah, so we front post and back post, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then front post half double around the next stitch and single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, so that single crochet is again going to be in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th chain 1 space coming down from that point, or in the half double crochet made in that 6th, exactly the same as the one that we started off with round here. Okay, so that's your repeat. This will curl forward a little bit, don't worry about that, it'll all make sense in the next couple of rounds. Okay, so just carry on now 5 more times, and when you come round to your standing single crochet that you made at the beginning here, you're going to join to that, fasten off and secure your ends. Round 24, we are going to join with a standing front loop treble in the 6th front post half double crochet after the top of the large point. Okay, so here's the top of the large point, front post 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so not that last one, one before. And we're going to join with a front loop treble. Yes, so in here. So just into the front loop and make a standing treble in there. Okay, don't worry about that stretching up. Okay, it won't stretch up in a little while. You will see why. Okay, so we're going to skip the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's the last 3 before our little treble group here. And we're going to, in this first treble here, we're going to make a popcorn stitch. We're then going to chain 1 and skip the chain 1 space. And we're going to do that 4 times. Okay. So skip those 3 and make a popcorn stitch. So we want 5 double crochets to make our popcorn. Four and 5. Okay, just pull that loop up slightly, take your hook out, and then you're going to put your hook back into the first double crochet of that 5, into the loop that we've pulled out, pull that back down, and then the way that I tend to do it, just to make it easy, is I push my finger into the back as I pull that through, so it actually makes, it makes that popcorn pop forward. And don't forget to do a chain 1 to close your popcorn and make it really pop forward. Okay, we're going to chain 1, skip the chain 1 space, popcorn in the next stitch. So again, 5 double crochet, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pull up the loop, take your hook out, put your hook back into that first stitch, pop the loop back on your hook, pull down, finger in the back or pinch at the front and pull through, and chain 1 to close it. Then again, chain 1. Okay, so that chain 1 when you're closing your popcorn stitch, that doesn't count anywhere in the pattern, and if the pattern then tells you to make a chain 1 afterwards, that's another chain 1 that you need to make. Okay, because that closing chain 1 is actually part of the popcorn stitch. Chain 1, and then this is the last of the 4 popcorns. Three, 4, and 5. And chain 1. And we're going to skip that last chain 1 space, and then we're going to make a popcorn in that last treble. So again, 5 double crochet, lift our hook out, pick it back up, pull it together, chain 1 to close. Okay, so you've got a popcorn made into each of those trebles and a chain 1 and skip the chain 1 space in between. We're now going to skip the next 3 stitches. Okay, so that's those first 3 single crochets. We're going to single crochet in the next stitch, and that's effectively the point stitch from that point, the 4th one. And we're then going to skip those next 3, and we're going to repeat this with the popcorns around this next bit. Okay, so it's popcorn, chain 1, skip the chain 1 space 4 times, and then a popcorn into that last treble, and I will catch up with you there. Okay, so that's all our popcorns finished, and we've ended with a popcorn in that last treble there. So now we are going to skip the next 3 stitches, and then starting in this, the second front post half double, we're going to front loop treble in the next 12 stitches. Again, don't worry about your front loops stretching up. When we do the folding single crochets in the next round, it will bring all of that back down and stop it from stretching. Okay, so 4, and in that last one, that's 12. Okay, and then in that point stitch we're going to make 3 front loop treble. Okay, so exactly the same but just 3, whoops, split the wool there, 3 all into that same stitch. And again, just pop your marker back into the centre one, because that's going to help you on the next round to know that those are the 3 that all have to be made in that same stitch. Okay, so then 12 more front loop trebles coming down, and don't miss that very first one in there. Okay, and I'll catch up with you when I've done those 12. Okay, so there's our repeat finish, 12 more after that, those 3 in that group there. We've got 12 more front loop trebles coming down, and that basically brings us back to where we've started here. So you've got the large point, you've got your front loop trebles, and either side of the small point you've got your little popcorn groups. So go ahead and repeat that 5 more times, and I will catch up with you just before we finish, or rather when we join, because with this standing front loop we need to join in the back loop only of that stitch. Okay, so I will catch up with you at that point. Okay, so end of round 24, and we're going to join into the back loop only of that first standing front loop treble. Okay, back loop only. And then let's move straight on to round 25. Okay, so in this round we're going to make folding single crochets. So if you've not made them before, the front loop treble are the sort of first part of the stitch, if you like, because we need something to fold over. So we're going to chain one, and then in the back loop of that treble, and we're going to go down into the back loop of the stitch that treble is made into. Okay, so on the previous round, yarn over and pull through both of those loops, yarn over and make your single crochet as normal. Okay, so that's our first folding single. I'll show you again once we get up onto the other side. Okay, so with the popcorns, the chain one that sits on the top is what we use to close the stitch with, but the actual popcorn stitch, the working loops, are the ones to the side here. So that's where you're going to make your next single crochet. And then into the chain one space, and we're going to do that 4 times. So into the popcorn, into the chain one space. That's 2, 3, and 4, and then single crochet into that last popcorn. Okay, we are then going to skip this next single crochet straight into the next popcorn and chain one space. Okay, so again we're going to do that 4 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then single crochet in that last popcorn. Okay, now don't worry if this sort of appears to sort of pull in, that will all straighten out in the next couple of rounds. Okay, so our folding single crochets. So these trebles are made in the front loop, so each treble where it's made into the front loop, there's a back loop there that you can work into, and that's where you're going to work your folding single crochet. So through the back loop of the treble and through the back loop of the stitch that the treble is made into. Okay, pull up a loop, make your single crochet. Okay, so through both of those back loops, pull up a loop, single crochet. It's one of those stitches that, yes, it's a little bit fiddly, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually really quite easy. And you'll notice that I've just got my work sort of tipped slightly towards me so that I can see quite easily which loop I'm going into, the one at the base of the treble where I've got the top loop here. I've also got the back loop at the bottom. Okay, and that's the effect that you get. It folds that stitch over. Okay, so we need to do 12 of those because we made 12 front loop trebles. So let's just do the last couple. When you're doing this, you'll also find that you only need to work into the one back loop. You don't need to work into the third loop as well. And you remember I said don't worry if these stitches sort of bag at the front, you can see once you've folded that and stitched it over, there's no stretching or pulling anymore. Okay, so we have done 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and now we come to the 3 that are all made into that point space, or point stitch rather. So you've got, just pull that over, you've got 3 stitches all here into the one front loop. So that one back loop, you're going to need to make 3 folding single crochets into that one back loop. Okay, so exactly the same through the back loop of the treble and down into that back loop. Next one into the same back loop, and the third one down and into that same back loop, and then just pop your marker into the second one. Okay, so that's the middle one. Okay, and then carry on down the other side. So again, through the matching back loops, and you're going to have 12 stitches going down. You do need to take just a little bit of care and just make sure that you are going into, whoops, I can get through the back loop of that one. Make sure you are going into the right stitch, because it is actually very easy to miss one and sort of go across with your hook, and then you'll end up twisting them slightly, and you'll also run out of spaces as you come down to the end. So let me just put those last few in. And there we go, that's the last one going, oops, don't want that in there, that's the last one going in there. Okay, so that's how your point is now going to look, so it's all neatly folded over, and then these are the stitches that you're going to work into in the next row. These here are the front loops of the trebles that you've folded over. Let me just zoom in so that you can see that a little bit more clearly. Okay, so these loops here, that's the front loop of the treble. These are your folding single crochets, and that's the stitches that you're going to work into for the next round. Okay, so that's your repeat. So just work all the way round, single crochet in the popcorn, single crochet in the chain one space, skip that middle single crochet, again singles in the popcorns and the chain one spaces, and then you're folding single crochets, making sure that you get all 3 of those stitches in the point in that one loop at the back there. Okay, so 5 more times, and then as you come round to that first folding single crochet that we made, you're going to join to that and fasten off and secure your ends. Okay, moving on to round 26, we're going to join with a standing single crochet in any marked stitch. Okay, so the stitch we put the marker in is the center of the 3 folding single crochet in the point. And then we're going to chain 2 and single crochet in the same stitch. So that is giving us our new chain 2 point space there. Okay, and then we are going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. We're going to half double in the next 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and you might notice that I sort of squish these trebles, the folded trebles, forward so that I can see those stitches at the back quite easily. Okay, now we're going to double crochet in 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So that brings us into that single crochet that was made into that first popcorn. So just as a marker, that's where your 9th double crochet needs to be. Okay, half double crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to single crochet in the next one, and then we're going to make 2 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Okay, so 1, 2 and 1, 2, and then we're going to single in the next, half double in the next, double in the next. Okay, so that leaves us with the single crochet made into that last popcorn, and then the single crochet made into this first popcorn here. We're going to skip those 2 because we're now going to work down into this skipped stitch from round 24, but we need to work in front of these, okay? And we're going to make 5 treble into that single. So hook in and then bend that, the last row back, row 25, so that your hook is through just into that skipped single crochet. So once you've got that first one in there, it's actually very easy to get the other 4 in. It's just getting that first stitch in there. 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so the 2 stitches that we're skipping are that last single crochet, the single crochet made in the last popcorn and the one made in the first popcorn. Okay, so then we are going to double crochet into the next stitch, so that's this one that's made into that chain 1 space. So we're going to do a double, we're literally reversing what we've already done now, a double, a half double and a single, and then we're going to do 2 singles in the next 2 stitches, so 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and then we are going to single, half double, and then we've got 9 double crochet again, exactly the same as we had on the other side. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Okay, and then we've got 3 half doubles, yes, 2 and 3, and then 2 single crochet, and as if by magic, there we are, back at our marked stitch, and in that marked stitch we are going to do a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, exactly as we did right at the very beginning, and pop the marker in. Okay, so that's your repeat for this round. So with that 5 treble in there, it's just getting that first one so that you make sure you're in front of these stitches and not working over them. Okay, so go ahead and repeat that. There we go, you can see the whole thing now. Go ahead and repeat that 5 more times, and when you come all the way round to this first standing single crochet that you put in before that chain 2 space, you're going to join there, fasten off and secure your ends. Moving on to round 27, we're going to join with a standing front post double crochet around the last stitch before any chain 2 space. So here's our chain 2 space at the top of the point, and we're going to go round the front and make a standing front post double. Okay, in the chain 2 space we're going to do 2 half double crochet, chain 2, 2 half double. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now we're going to front post double around the next 9 stitches. So don't forget that very first one. And then we're going to go 1. Again, a little bit tricky getting around those singles, but I know you can do it. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Okay. Now we're going to make a front post treble 3 together around the next 3 stitches, and we're going to do this twice. Okay, so for a front post treble 3 together, we're going to yarn over twice, go round the next stitch, pull up our loop and pull through 2 stitches twice. So we've got our partial front post treble. Repeat that around the next stitch and around the next stitch. Okay, so we've got 3 partial trebles. This is our last front post double. So there's 3 partial trebles. We've got 4 loops on a hook, yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. Okay, and now we're going to do that a second time. So again, round we go, through 2 loops twice, round the next stitch, through 2 loops twice, round the next stitch, and through 2 loops twice, yarn over through all 4 loops. Okay, front post double around the next stitch, and basically what we're doing over these next couple of rounds is straightening our sides out so that we're going to end up with a hexagon. Okay, so we've gone from our star and we're now going into a hexagon. Okay, front post half double around the next 6. So 1, again a little bit tricky getting in these single crochets, particularly where you've got the 2 in the same stitch there. 3, 4, and 5, and 6. So that 6th front post half double will fall into the last single crochet there. Okay, so now we're going to front post single around the next 2 stitches, which are our half double and then our double crochet, chain 1, and now we've got our group of 5 trebles here. We're going to skip those first 2 stitches, back loop single crochet in that middle or 3rd stitch, chain 1 and skip the next 2. Okay, because we're going to be working into this in another couple of rounds. So make sure that you are in just the back loop there, although you can see that I've caught that 3rd loop. If I put it down, you can see there's no 3rd loop there anymore. Okay, so front post single around the next 2, that's your double and your half double, and then front post half double around the next 6. So we're doing exactly the same as we did on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we are going to, if I can find the bit where I'm meant to be on the pattern. Okay, front post double around the next stitch, and then we're going to make 2 more front post treble 3 togethers. Okay, so we're going to go around 1, 2 and 3 stitches, and then we're going to repeat that around 1, 2 and 3 stitches, and then front post double around the next 9 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, oops, 5, 6, 7, and the last couple are those tricky little singles. 8 and 9, and that last one should bring you to your chain 2 space again. Okay, so there's our repeat, and as you can see, it's already starting to look a little bit straighter. Don't worry if your 5 trebles all go a bit skew-if in there, because we have pulled them together slightly. Don't worry about that. Okay, so your corners are 2 half doubles, chain 2, 2 half doubles, and then you've got front post stitches all the way along on both sides, apart from that one back loop single crochet behind the trebles there. Okay, so go ahead and do that 5 more times, and then join to your standing front post double with a slip stitch. Moving on to round 28, we are going to chain 1, and then we're going to front post double around that same stitch. Okay, so that's the last front post double there of that repeat, which is where we started with our standing stitch last time. Okay, and front post double around the next 2 stitches, and that will then take us up to our corner. Okay, so in the corner, in the chain 2 space, or in the point should I say, we are going to do 3 half double crochets. 1, 2 and 3, and pop your marker into the second or center one, and then we're coming along, oops, getting myself tangled with my spare hooks, coming all the way along this edge now. Okay, so you are going to front post double crochet around the next 22 stitches. So again, don't forget that very first one in there. So 1, 2, 3, that's 11. Okay, and then the next 2 are the front post treble 3 togethers. So again, just make sure that you go right the way around there, and you're just going to make those 2 around like that. Okay, so 22 we need. 21 and and 22. Those last two are the front post singles, so they're just a little bit more difficult to get around. Okay, so we've got 22 front post doubles. We're going to double crochet in the next chain one space, double crochet in the next stitch, which is our back loop single, and then double crochet in the next chain one space, and then we're going to front post double crochet around the next 22 stitches, which is going to bring us back up to the beginning there. So we've got 1, 2, 20, 21 and 22. Okay, so again, remember as you come along here that you're only making one front post double around the front post treble 3 togethers. Okay, don't get confused because you've got 3 stitch posts here, because it's actually only one stitch. Okay, so there's the repeat for round 28. So carry on and do that 5 more times, and then join to the first front post double crochet with a slip stitch. On to round 29, I'm going to chain 1 and then front post single around that same stitch. So here we've got the one that lines up with that standing front post double that we did, and we're then going to front post single around the next 3 stitches, and again make sure you come right down around the post, and even with that half double. Okay, because what we're doing in this round is we're straightening this line up completely. Okay, so then in your marked stitch, your point stitch, you're going to make 3 single crochet, 1, 2 and 3. Pop your marker in that second stitch again. Let's just swing everything round. Okay, front post single around the next 4 stitches. Now this one here, this is your corner or point stitch that you've made those 3 singles in, so don't mistakenly make a stitch around that one. So we go to that next one there, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3 and 4. Front post half double around the next 2 stitches. She says 1 and 2, and then front post double around the next 10. That's 1, 2, 9 and 10. And then we are going to front post half double around the next 2. So there's 1 and 2. And then we're going to front post single around the next 13. 1, 2, 12 and 13. front post half double around the next 2, 1 and 2, front post double around the next 10, 1 and 2, 9 and 10, front post half double around the next 2, 1 and 2, and then front post single around the next 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and again that brings us to that point stitch that we'll work into next. Okay, so now we've got a nice straight line. Don't worry about this little bit that's pushing up here, because on the next round we're going to work into these trebles and that's going to lift everything here. Okay, so it's all front post stitches, but it's just a case of remembering, apart from obviously the point stitch, it's just a case of remembering how many of each to do. So just keep your eye on the pattern and make sure that you're doing the right number each time. Go round and repeat that 5 times, or 5 more times, and then when you come back here to the beginning, to that first front post single that you made in here, join in there, fasten off and secure your ends. Okay, on to round 30, which is the last round for part 1. We're going to join with a standing single crochet in the first single crochet made in any point. So you made 3 here, we put the marker in the second one, so it's the stitch before the marker that we're going to pop a standing single crochet in there. Then our repeat starts. So in that point stitch we are going to make 3 single crochet again, and pop your marker into that second stitch. Okay, and do leave your stitch markers in because you will need them in the next part. Okay, so single crochet in the next 25 stitches. 1, 2, whoops, start that one again. 2, 3, 21, 2, 3, 4 and 25. Okay, so single crochet number 25 will come in line with the chain 1 space, okay, back down here. So before that back loop single that we did in that chain 1 space, that's where your 25th single crochet will end up. Okay, we're now going to make a front post triple or treble 5 together around the 5 trebles here from round 26. Okay, so same as any normal treble, yarn over twice and make sure that you're right around that stitch and through 2 loops twice. Okay, round 1, 2, 3, and 5. Okay, so we've got 5 partial trebles made around those trebles there. You've got 6 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all of those loops. Okay, we're going to skip the next stitch. So that's this one that's made into that back loop single, that one that follows up from there. So then there is our next stitch. So we've got 1 skipped here, and again 25 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 21, 22, 23, 24 and 25. Okay, so that's our repeat. Nice and simple. Okay, so we've got 3 single crochets in our point stitch, our mark stitch, and then remember to put your marker in the second or center one. You've then got 25 single crochet, a front post treble 5 together, and you're going to skip that stitch behind there, and another 25 single crochet. Okay, so go ahead and do that 5 more times. When you come round to the beginning here, join there to that standing single crochet, and that is part 1 complete. Now, don't block your work. It will lay fairly flat. The whole thing lays, let me zoom out. Oh, whoops, wrong way, sorry. No, can't get out far enough at the moment. Okay, everything will lay fairly flat. This will just tip up slightly because of all the front post stitches there. Will lay fairly flat. Okay, so you will be able to take a nice photograph, but don't block it because the temptation will be to stretch this, and you don't want to stretch this because of part 2. Okay, so finish up and then you're all ready for next week once you have sewn away all your ends. Thanks for watching. See you next part.